Yeah, it's meme stocks and Reddit. Reddit's kind of the main thing behind this. It's a message board of people, and they've created these memes of these stocks, and they've kind of gone crazy. But it's more than that. It's the fact that Reddit figured out something. So these people last year started doing research into companies that were being shorted. And they found out that some of these companies, such as GameStop, were being shorted at 140% of the shares available, which is crazy. I mean, that's more shares than there are. So more shares that were available are being shorted. So they realized that, and they started working together. And when they started working together, they started buying it, and they're all just beating this drum of buying this stock. And all of a sudden, they started to squeeze the shorts. So when that happens, the shorts have to cover, so they have to come in and buy. And it starts exponentially driving up the stock. And you watch the stock go from, I think GameStop in August was $3. And today it hit like $3.30, $3.40, something just crazy. So they started doing that, and then they realized there's other stocks that have that. So they found AMC, and they found Bed Bath & Beyond, they found all these companies, and they started buying them and pouring all their money in, and it's created this giant bubble. I mean, this is 100% gambling. I mean, these people are gambling with their money. They could lose it all, and someone is going to get caught. Like, someone is going to ride this thing to the top and be like, oh, I can buy it, and then just watch it die. Because there's no fundamentals to any of this. It is 100% speculation and squeezing the shorts. So they know what they're doing. It has nothing to do with the fundamentals of the company. They just know that there are all these shorts, and that by buying the stock and driving the price up, they have to cover the shorts, which keeps driving the price up. So
like to get out of your short position, you actually have to buy more.
Yeah, because you have a thing called margin. So shorts work either way. You make money going down because you buy the stock for this price, and you make the spread. Well, going the other way, when the stock goes up, you have margin call. So they have to cover that amount of money. So they can't handle the losses. So if you don't have money to dump in there, you have to cover your short. And that means buying the stock. So that's what's happening. No one can, with the price keep going up like that, no one can cover it. It's billions of dollars. I think GameStop was around $3 billion lost by the shorts. And that's almost or it might have been 5. It was almost as much as the total market cap value of the stock. So it's basically a David versus Goliath. It's these little retail investors who pooled together on Reddit, and they are taking down the hedge funds who are shorting companies. And they got on AMC today because they like movies. And like GameStop is like, a lot of these guys on Reddit were gamers. So they're like, let's save our gaming company. And then today was, let's save Reddit, or not Reddit, let's save AMC. So AMC shot up. So like on Twitter, it was trending, save AMC. So I mean, AMC went up a crazy ton today, and it's all because of these people on these message boards. So this is really like huge. Like, this is a financial thing that we're going to be talking about for 10 years, just because it's the little guys winning.
How do you think it's going to change how investing is going forward? I mean, is this the new normal, you think?
I hope not. I mean, I think they've found something, and I don't think it'll continue to go on, because who wants that? I mean, stocks can't go up 300 or 400% like that, and the volatility, I mean, it's just not healthy for the market. But that they found it, and there'll probably be some other things where they pool behind a stock. I mean, there's good companies out there that they pool behind and share information. So I think it's giving, what the internet and Reddit and all these things have done is given the individual investor information that they used to not have. So now, like, these guys were able to read reports to find out what companies were short. So they get on every hedge fund, and they read every report that said, we're shorting this, what are all their positions? So they found them all, and then they started buying them. And that's the change, is the information. Will something like this happen again? I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily like the most healthy thing, because there's going to be some casualties. I mean, there will. It's just, it has to happen. When something goes up that fast, it's going to go down. It's kind of like Bitcoin. So a way to look at it is, when Bitcoin went up to 19,000 like 3 or 4 years ago, and then fell all the way down to 4,000. That guy who bought Bitcoin at 19,000 and then it fell to 4 was not a happy person. Well, a person who buys GameStop at $300 And if it falls back to 20, you're not going to be a happy person. I mean, you're going to lose all your money. So that's kind of scary for people. And it's like, if you don't know that getting into this and know how fast the market can move, I mean, these are days. Like, this has happened like hundreds of percents in days. That's crazy. Like, that doesn't normally happen unless, you know, a really good piece of information comes out about a company, but this isn't information. This is just totally like them attacking the big dog. And they even talk about it. They want to take down the hedge funds.
And why is it that, why are people celebrating this so much? I mean, just because, the David versus Goliath type thing?
David versus Goliath thing. It's like, it's taken away these guys. So short sellers come in and they beat up companies till they go bankrupt. And a lot of people don't really like that. I mean, some of these companies are good companies that might be able to survive, but the short sellers come in and they beat it up and it gets killed and goes bankrupt and dies.
And can you elaborate on what you mean by they beat it up? As in, how do
they keep shorting it and putting pressure on the stock to bring it down.
So in other words, for people who may not be stock,
yeah.
minded, they're betting against it.
Yeah, they're betting against it. They want the stock to go down. Their goal is for that stock to go to zero so they make a fortune. Like, they do not want companies to do good. They want them to do bad. And sometimes short selling is not necessarily like it's a way to hedge. Like, it can be used as a way to hedge, but sometimes it's used to destroy companies.
And when someone is, when these big hedge funds go in and they short a stock or a company, what do they do after that to ensure that their bet hits, their short hits? I mean, do they just go bury them publicly and stuff?
So yes. So they go on the news. So it's the same thing. Like, Reddit people go out and talk about their stock. Well, the hedge fund guys go on CNBC and talk about their short position. They issue reports saying that this company is horrible. They do downgrades. They just start pumping information about how this company is not going to make it. And here's what our analysts say. So they're doing the same thing that the Reddit people are doing, except they do it their way, and it's more public. Reddit's doing it in a private forum because no one will listen to like a little guy talking. Someone will listen to a hedge fund guy worth $2 or $3 billion, and he's like, "Oh, I say this," and
this Reddit phenomenon that we're seeing right now. This isn't just one person, is it?
No, it's like 2 million people. I mean, it's like the site has gone from like 1 million to 3 million people. In the last week alone, it's added like 700,000 people to the site. So it's not a little bit of people, it's a whole lot of people. And it's kind of reached the point, like, I'm hearing about it all the time, which usually means me, like, when I hear about everything in like every single conversation I'm having and you come in, it means that it's reaching like an exponential like point. Like, it's probably close to a crashing point, but I have no idea. It can't go up forever. I mean, it's like, it just can't.
And so going forward here, do you think, you were talking about how there's a chance we could see some regulations, as much as we may agree or disagree on if that's right or not, because of this. What kind of things do you think could possibly happen as a result of this, as far as regulations or things like that?
I really don't know. I mean, some of the stuff could be like, I think being able to short sell like 200% of a stock's outstanding shares is not necessarily a good thing. That's probably one that I would take away. And I don't know, like, these people aren't doing anything, like, they're just talking in a forum. And I hope they don't try to regulate free speech for talking in a forum. And like, they've openly said what they're doing. Like, they said we are shorting, or we are going long in GME. They made memes about it. They had like Leonidas battle like the Persians, and they were like the Reddit Wall Street bet guys versus the Melvin Capital and Citron. I mean, they've made all these memes about it. I mean, it's like a battle to them. But I think that's neat that you're able to like share information like that, and like the little guy can make it. But I don't like I'd regulate the big guys, but the news media and like, not like some of the financial news people are saying we need to regulate the little guy. And I was like, the big guy does the same thing. He comes in and destroys companies and does stuff. I was like, I think the little guy needs to be able to do the same thing. It's equal opportunity. So, but something will probably come out of this, and knowing our government, we like to overreact. So I'm hoping there's not an overreaction from this, because it's transferred wealth from, 20, 30 hedge fund managers to millions of people, which is very interesting.
Yeah, sure. I mean, people are paying off their student loans, buying houses, cars.
Yeah.
In a way, I mean, would you say we've already kind of seen a little bit of, I don't know if you'd call it regulation or not, but like what TD Ameritrade did today with restricting their users from, I don't know if they capped it or whatever, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they had glitches, they shut down, they halted trading. I mean, they were working to help the hedge funds. I mean, that's what it looks like. And that's what those guys on Reddit say. They're like, they're helping them, they're doing this, and I mean, who knows? I mean, we don't know,
Yeah, I just saw today that like they put a cap or restrictions on GME and AMC, the TD Ameritrade app. Like it popped that up. I saw that screenshot dozens of times today across my social media feeds. So I didn't know if that was something that.
I mean, they're trying to halt it for volatility and to not hurt people, which I mean I can see, because there's going to be some person who has no idea what they're doing, and they're like, this is going up forever. I'm going to put 10 grand in it, and then they lose all their money. And we don't want that. Like, we don't want like people who don't know what they're doing. Like, this is stuff that, I mean, it's gambling, 100% gambling. I don't recommend it at all. For any of my clients, would not recommend to do this unless you're willing to lose every dollar and possibly more. Because if you do some certain financial contracts, you can lose more money than you put in. It can be an infinite loss. And like, if you don't understand what you're doing, you could seriously hurt yourself. So it is very important to know like what you're doing, like, because you get into some of these derivative products, and that's a completely different story. Like, you buy a stock, you buy shares of a stock, you put $1,000 into it, and it goes to zero, you lose $1,000. You buy puts, you buy options, you buy calls, you write calls. Like, there's things that you can do that can be infinite loss. So if you don't know what you're doing, it could hurt you. And like with this kind of stuff, because it's totally gambling, total speculation, you should just be prepared that if it goes to zero, I knew it was going to go to zero.
So advice to anyone who is even thinking about doing this. Of course, you already said you wouldn't recommend it.
I don't recommend it.
That'll be clear in here. But for anyone who is doing this, I mean, would your advice to them be like, be prepared to lose whatever you put in?
Be prepared to lose whatever you put in, and have strategy. Have a strategy. Watch it. Make sure you're paying attention, because I know there's probably people in this town that have bought this stuff. I mean, I've had clients ask me, I wouldn't do it. So I've had some clients ask to do it, and I was like, I'm not gonna. It's like, that's you. Whatever you want to do, you can do, but this is not like my realm of.
Have you had a lot of calls, a lot of people asking you about it today, or the last few days?
Last few weeks, I've had a ton of calls. Like, I got 3 or 4 emails the other day. I've had a couple calls today on it, and everybody just wants to talk about it. It's because it's a phenomenon.
I mean, how long do you think this could continue? It's hard to say, I'm sure.
Yeah, a couple weeks maybe. But I mean, it's exponentially just gone crazy.
And this has never been anything like this before. Maybe of that like late 90s type.
Nothing on the scale of this. I mean, because you've got, now it is so easy to trade. People can open up a Robinhood account on their phone and be trading like super fast and get money in their account super fast, and like anybody can trade on their phone. So now everybody on their phone has stock trading. 30, 40 years ago, you had to call a stockbroker and you had to like send a check in, and like everything was slow. Well, our world is moving stupid fast now. So everything just moves so fast that, it couldn't happen like that. Like, everybody's hearing about it. Like, my assistant came in, who's in college and didn't really know. He was asking me about it. He's like, should I buy this? And I'm like, if you like gambling.
Like you said, and that's exactly what it is, it seems like.
Yeah, because we don't know what the future is going to be, you know? Like I'm a financial planner. I build plans for people. We do stuff and build diversified portfolios that we know we're going to get you to the end. You know, do I have some clients that, yeah, we take 10% of their money and we play with some stocks. You know, but we follow fundamentals and look at companies that we know are going to be around for a long time. And that's it. We're not trying to trade for a day. You know, like I'm like, if we're going to buy the stock, let's think about keeping it for several years, or you know, something. Not, well, I'm going to buy it today and sell it in 2 days, because it's day trading and it's super hard, and like you can lose all your money. I mean, a similar experience to this would be like the '99 tech bubble. So there were all these funds like Tyco, Global Crossing. Well, one of my college roommates in this got into the hype. And he was a young kid, started trading stocks. He burned his hand and got 50 G's. And because of that, we put it all in the stock market and he lost it all. And a similar situation is that like 99 of losing all your money is like betting on things like pets.com and all these like internet, like the tech bubble. So this is probably the Reddit bubble, if you were to call it anything. Because it's not fundamentals, it's total speculation. For me in my business, it's like watching like football. It's like the Super Bowl, like it's fun, it's neat to see, like just because it's so unusual. And like I can actually go on the site and like see the guys talking about it, and like because I've been following this Reddit site for like 2 years, just because it you know I like Wall Street, and you know it's part of my job is to keep up on like trends and stuff. And it's just funny how this thing, like, it used to actually be like really good information. Now it's like super memes, and it's like it's a little more funny, but it's interesting.